Okay, then so be it. Resuming debate, the honourable member.
Madam Speaker, apparently this government distrusts the ability of Canadians to plan for their own retirement. There is no other reason for this ill-conceived tax hike that the members opposite like to pretend is not a tax on Canadians. When the Canada Pension Plan was first introduced in 1965, it was intended to assist those Canadians who were not already part of workplace pension plans. The government apparently felt such a plan was necessary to assist Canadians in their retirement planning. The world has changed since then, but the Liberals still believe we are living in 1965. They still believe it is the role of the government to tell the people what they can do with their money. They still believe that the Canadians are not capable of determining for themselves what they will financially when they retire and preparing for their retirement on their own. As a result, we have this bill, C-26, which will take money from the pockets of hard-working Canadians who are being given no choice in the matter. The benefits of this tax hike, if any, and do not be fooled when they tell you it's not a tax hike, by the way, will happen at some point in the far future. These changes do nothing to help today's seniors who may be struggling to make ends meet. Why do I say that this is a tax hike, Madam Speaker, when the government says it's not? Well, as the cliche goes, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then it is a duck. If the government taxes money from you and give you nothing in return, then that is a tax. The Canada Pension Plan receives money from two sources, employers and employees. They make equal payments into the fund, but at the end, only one of them receives a pension from those payments, and that is the employees. For the employer, CPP is just one of many costs of doing business, and this government, with these changes, is increasing the tax load on employers while pretending that is not a tax. I was a small businessman before the people of Edmonton Manning give me their trust as their representative in Ottawa. I know what it means to be an employer and to have to pay my employees. I know firsthand how much government red tape is involved in running a business. And you can call this increase in CPP whatever you like, but business owners knows the truth. This is a tax grab. The Liberals can pull all the lipstick on this pig that they like, but at the end of the day, they are telling these businesses, the business owners, to pay more money with absolutely nothing in return. The return for the country is something different. When business owners are faced with an increase in costs, then adjustments have to be made somewhere else. The government is mandating this increase in taxes for nebulous benefits at some point in the future. But business owners has to deal with the tax now. As I see it, they are faced with two choices in this situation. With this increase in costs imposed on them by the government, they will have to find other areas to cut back. One way would be to freeze or even cut wages so that the employer's tax burden do not increase. How does this help employees? I don't know. The alternative is that they will freeze hiring or even lay off employees. Personnel costs are a big part of doing business, and it does not make sense that the government would increase this burden on business owners. This extra tax is putting thousands of Canadian jobs at risk. In 2015, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business looked at a similar CPP hike scenario. They found it would eliminate 110,000 jobs and permanently lower wages by nearly 1%. They are not alone in predicting the negative consequence of an increase in CPP premiums. The Fraser Institute found that a 1% point increase in the CPP contribution rate reduces private saving by 0.9 points. That doesn't provide them much benefit. What does this tax mean, Madam Speaker, for working Canadians? The government tells us that we should be happy. that there will be more money for us when we retire. It assumes that Canadians are not using saving vehicles such as the Registered Retirement Saving Plan or the tax-free saving account. Perhaps that is why they reduced the TFSA contribution level set by the previous Conservative government. When these changes are introduced, Canadians will take home less paycheck every week. The government wants us to think that isn't much, that we will never notice it. But every penny less in a person's pocket makes a difference to that person. So what's the effects of this tax be as people see their pay reduced? With less money coming in it, will take that much longer for new graduates to pay off their student loans. Then in return, delays their ability to buy that first house. That has an impact on the economy that perhaps the government hasn't thought enough about. We want to encourage Canadians to save, but by reducing their pay, we take the opportunity away from them. Though this tax increase, the Liberals are saying, we don't trust you to be smart in how you spend your own money, so we will do it for you. Madam Speaker, Canadians have already shown that they know how to handle their own money. They don't need the government or this government to do it for them. We already have a retirement system that is the envy of the world. Canadians are saving more today for retirement than ever before without this tax grab. Poverty among seniors has dropped significantly in recent years. According to Statistics Canada, the share of Canadian seniors living on low income has dropped from 29% in 1970, when the CPP was in the infancy, to 3.7 today, among the lowest in the world. Conservatives believe that Canadians should be able to manage their own money. It is not the role of the government to do so. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, Liberal promises on financial matters are somewhat suspect. It was only a year ago the Prime Minister was promising to hold the budget deficit at $10 billion, and we all know how quickly that promise was broken. How can the government expect Canadians to believe anything they say about the CPP benefit in 2050? If the government was truly serious about helping Canadians to save for their retirement, it would reinstate the TFSA contribution level that's set by the Conservative government. Treat Canadians like adults and let them choose how to save their retirement. It appears as if this government has decided that CPP should be the only method of retirement savings Canadians use, but that was never the intention. In 1964, the Liberal minister responsible for introducing the Canada Pension Plan said the CPP, and I quote, not intended to provide all the retirement income which many Canadians wish to have. This is a matter of individual choice and, in the government's view, should properly be left to personal saving and private pension plans. That was a good idea then. It is a good idea now. It's the time for this government to show Canadians the respect that they deserve. For the good of Canadians, they should abandon this bill. Thank you.